Visualizing is a skill used during reading to help us make a mental picture of the text. When learners visualize, they must think about what is happening in the text like a scene from a movie. They must try to see the text in their minds as it happens. Watch as Lerato visualizes an email sent to her by her cousin, Themba.
Dear Lerato, I'm writing to tell you that I won the spelling bee at school. I spelled the word hierarchy correctly. I got a big trophy and my parents took me out for a fancy dinner. Love, your cousin Themba.
Visualizing helps learners to see how the key points or events in a text are related to each other. This strategy helps learners to think about the text as one whole, a connected entity, rather than just isolated pages, paragraphs, or chapters. Visualizing also helps younger learners to remember that we read for meaning, that we must constantly be using the words on the page to create meaning. Watch as this teacher helps her learners to visualize and understand word problems in maths. In order to help learners visualize, read the text aloud.
Selo has 12 apples and 3 friends. He wants to share the apples equally between himself and his friends. How many apples do they each get?
Instruct the learners to close their eyes. Explain that learners must listen to the words and make a movie in their mind.
Visualize the movie of Selo giving each of his friends apples. What does this look like for you? Can you make a movie of Selo sharing out the apples?
If applicable, you can model the skill for learners. Explain to learners the movie that you see in your mind.
I see Selo sitting on the grass with his 3 friends, Bongi, Neo, and Helen. He lays the 12 apples out on the grass in front of him. He gives 1 apple to Bongi, 1 apple to Neo, 1 apple to Helen, and 1 to himself. Now each of the friends has 1 apple. There are still 8 apples in front of him. Then Selo gives 1 apple to Bongi, 1 apple to Neo, 1 apple to Helen, and 1 to himself. Now each of the friends has 2 apples. There are still 4 apples in front of him. He gives 1 apple to Bongi, 1 apple to Neo, 1 apple to Helen, and 1 to himself. Now each of the friends has 3 apples. Selo shared the 12 apples between 4 of them. They each have 3 apples.
Learners need lots of practice to remember to use visualizing as a strategy for comprehending text.
What did you visualize, Nandi?
I visualized Selo's apples in a basket. He puts the basket in the middle. He and his friends sit around the basket. Then Selo shares out the apples, just like in your movie.
I see you visualize the word problem to help you solve it. Today, when you solve your word problems, remember to visualize each one.
Remember, a learner who can visualize the text is a learner who is focused on making the meaning. In order to visualize, read the text aloud. Tell the learners what you visualize. Help learners to link events and see the whole picture, and give learners lots of practice.